Hello everybody and welcome to my latest video. Today I'm going to be talking about the 7 books that I read in September. The first 2 were on audiobook. The first one was Circling the Sun by Paula McLean, which is about Beryl, who is a woman in Africa in 1920s and 30s. Specifically, she lives in Kenya. She is the first woman to get her horse trainer certificate in Kenya. She's also the first woman to get her pilot's license in Kenya. The back was a little bit deceptive about that, but I'm getting over that. It follows her as she makes her journey through all of these things that should realistically have been closed to women, but she forges right ahead and just ignores any barriers for her sex, which I really enjoyed. The second book was Island Beneath the Sea by Isabel Allende. The audiobook version that I listened to was not good. The narrator didn't know what a comma was or what to do with it, apparently, and the translation felt very crude and clunky to me. However, that said, following Zarite, the main character, who was a slave in the Haitian Revolution and around that time, was really interesting. There's a whole host of characters, including Toussaint Louverture, the man who became sort of the leader and the face of the Haitian Revolution, and Zarite's master and his brother-in-law, just a whole host of characters that sort of circle around Zarite, who is called Tete, and I really enjoyed the actual plot, so I'm hoping to be able to read it in the original Spanish at some point. The next book was The Woman Who Would Be King by Kari-ng. This book I have a book review for, so I'll link that down below. I really enjoyed this book. I didn't know much about Hatshepsut except what I knew from Mara, Daughter of the Nile, which is a YA historical fiction that I absolutely love. And it taught me a lot about her, Hatshepsut. There's not much out there about her, but Kari-ng did a really good job of letting you know when she was assuming something and letting you know where she got the information from and what she was doing with it, how she was interpreting it. So I really enjoyed that. The next book I read was The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. This book follows these women who are handmaids in the Red, and their job is basically to have sex with the commanders that they're placed in the households of and produce children, because children are a rare commodity and apparently everything has been radiated in this world, and so children are often born deformed. If you have a non-deformed child, you are just not worshipped, but you are sort of hailed as a type of hero because they're so rare. It was another dystopian novel. I've read probably way too many of them lately. I didn't really enjoy this book. Some of the descriptions were amazing, like the description of the commander's wife's flowers. Gorgeous. And the second half of the book seemed to be better, but I didn't really enjoy this. Probably won't ever reread it, even if I do keep it. So I gave it 3 out of 5 stars, and that's all I got. The next book was one that is very popular right now, and I understand why. It is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. This book follows 6 members of a street gang as they try to break into an unbreakable fortress to steal something. And I loved the relationships and the characters. The writing wasn't maybe quite as good as I'd expected from all the hype. I guess I sort of expected sort of a F. Scott Fitzgerald type of writing, but I didn't quite get it. That said, the writing was very good. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, primarily because with all the hype, it just didn't live up to it. The next book I read was Heartless by Marissa Meyer, and this book was actually a big disappointment for me. Haley from Haley and Bookland really loves this book. She's also an Alice in Wonderland fanatic, which I am actually going to read soon. I now own that book. But I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars. It's the origin story of the Queen of Hearts, and while the cover is beautiful, the insides don't match. The writing was fine. I enjoyed how the author took in some of the work of authors from before Carol's time, like Shakespeare and Poe, and sort of used them in this book as quotes. However, it was just very cliche. It felt very predictable to me, which I don't enjoy in my books, especially because I don't try to predict my books, so when I can predict them, it's painful. But, yeah, if you enjoy Alice in Wonderland, there's a good chance you'll enjoy this. I just didn't. And the last book, which was my favorite, was Washington: A Life by Ron Chernow. This book is a whopping 817 pages, so it took me a fair bit to read. However, this book was amazing. It really humanized Washington from the deity that we've made him and from this myth that we've created where he's infallible and perfect with the exception that he owned slaves. I really enjoyed getting to know Washington in a more impersonal way. You see him in all his insecurities, you see him in all of his passions even, because he did have a violent temper apparently, but we're taught that he is this stoic, I have no emotions type of way, which he really isn't at all, and I thoroughly enjoyed this book. There will be a book review coming for this one because I have a lot to say. I also did book reviews on Six of Crows and Heartless, so I'll link those down below as well. Those are the 7 books I read for September though, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that thumbs up button down below and the subscribe button down below as well if you want to see more videos like this. Until then, bye!